Hello everyone, and welcome to my review for Kengan Omega Chapter 123. Before I get into this week's review, I of course have to mention my subscriber goal for 2021, hitting 5,000 by the end of the year. We have 1,451 to go, so if you're already a fan of the channel and you're not subscribed, you might as well. Time to reach that goal. The next thing is my Patreon. Since it's the start of the video, it's time to give a shout out to my wonderful patrons. Special thanks to Fuse, Neo, Dijon Redden, Anthony Chavez, Honey Mustard, Zach Rowitz, K-God, Chris Redfield, Scratch23, Moonshadow935, Rat, Ryzen 4K, Artist, Mac Campaign, and Wave of Manga. Thank you all very much for supporting me on Patreon. I greatly appreciate it. And if you too want to get a shout out at the start of videos or access to reviews for Solo Leveling and The Boxer, you can always become a patron as well. There's a link to my Patreon down in the description. With that out of the way, let's get on with the review. I feel like Sandro was not really trying that hard for most of this tournament, so that when we would get into the final act, he could just go absolutely nuts, just saving up all of his writing energy for this part of the tournament, because holy shit, we have had like 3 or 4, at least 8 out of 10 chapters in a row. Last chapter was a 10 out of 10, and I think honestly we have another 10 out of 10 chapter right here. So the start of this chapter, we have more of Faye versus Waka, Faye using some version of the redirection kata on Wakatsuki to keep him on the ground. Now, the first big thing, the first real important thing that happens in this chapter is related to Edward and Gia-G, who are in the hallway. Gia-G is freaked out by everything going on, and Edward is questioning why all of these worm members have been revealing themselves in this big public event. It's very strange, because the worm has been this secret organization since forever, since seemingly the whole time it's been around, so why go and reveal yourself in this big manner? Well, probably because the Wormhead wants to reveal the worm to the public now for some reason. Who knows? But we actually get the reveal of the head's name. Edward says their name is Jan, and that they're not an idiot, so he's wondering what their exact motivations in doing this are. So that's actually a very interesting little tidbit of information. But anyway, Ryan's here. Yeah, fucking finally, it only took him like 6 months. More than 6 months, actually. We have to question how the hell did it take Ryan this long to catch up to Edward and Gia-G when they were like right outside the arena when he ran after them, like full speed. I only have a couple explanations. First one, he got lost. Like, he just didn't know where to find them in the arena. He just took the wrong turn because he's kind of an idiot. I feel like the Kure clan has bred the ultimate fighting machine. He's the strongest creature on Earth, but in return, he has a below-average IQ. Oh, Ryan. You are such an interesting fellow. Other explanations, he went to go wash off in the restroom, because you notice he's not covered in Allen like he was after that fight. He seems to be cleaned up now, so maybe he went and, like, fucking washed off, took a shower or something, I don't know. That may explain why it took 4 rounds for him to catch up to Edward, but the last explanation is he was sneaking. My cat has decided to sit down here now, and I don't have the heart to move him, so just accept any cat noises he's making as part of the background. But yeah, the last explanation I can possibly think of is that Ryan decided he wanted to sneak up on Edward, so he's just been crouch walking this entire way to catch up to him, which is why it took him like an hour. Which, you know what, frankly was worth it, because now we get this really good callback to when he fucking snuck up on Rahito in the bathroom during the Annihilation tournament. Yeah, remember that time Ryan, like, sexually harassed Rahito? Yeah, he basically kind of does that to Edward. Of course, Edward's not taking a piss right now, so it's just him, like, fucking sneaking up behind him and putting his head on his shoulder. And Edward actually has a really good, like, response to Ryan showing up. He says he forgot about Ryan, but that he's gonna tear him to shreds now. Now, Ryan is really fucking strong, so the idea that Edward could just be like, oh, right, you were chasing after me. I forgot about that. Goes to show that Edward is a fucking monster. I think Edward is high tier, like top tier in the series. Definitely Kuroki level, at least. I know we have a few characters that are, although we haven't seen them really do anything on screen, are like almost definitely stronger than Kuroki. Unless Kuroki has like doubled or tripled in strength since the Annihilation tournament. So I definitely think Edward and Tiger Nico are Kuroki level, and Kuroki is not the strongest person on that level. But yeah, I hope this fight isn't off screen. Speaking of that, before I get back to talking about Waka versus Faye, we have another fight that I hope isn't off screen. It's Tiger Nico versus Mutaba. Considering that Toyota called up Mutaba a while ago, I guess he maybe knew about Tiger Nico, or maybe not about Tiger Nico himself, but he knew someone was going to be trying to sabotage the tournament, so he hired Mutaba to basically take care of whoever that was. And I guess when Tiger Nico took over the big screens, the big like Jumbotron, yeah. He was like, oh, I guess that's where I have to go. So Mutaba is going to try and fight Tiger Nico with a knife. How do I think this is going to work out? Not very well at all. Like, I understand Mutaba was out of his element in the Annihilation tournament and that he's primarily an assassin who uses weapons, so he would definitely do better in this situation than he probably would have in almost any of the Annihilation tournament fights. But Tiger Nico is probably one of the strongest characters in the series. He's quite possibly the strongest person in this building right now. So, Mutaba, I think you're a little out of your league here. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe you give Mutaba, like, anything even resembling a weapon and suddenly he becomes, like, a fucking triple S tier character. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But it is exciting that we finally have both of these plot points being developed, because they were introduced a while ago and then just not really anything happened with them for a while. Like especially the Ryan thing. That was started 6 months ago. So now we're finally here. So really, now that we're here, I had kind of accepted the idea that the Edward fight was just going to be Ryan getting off-screened a while ago just because of how long we didn't see it for. But now that we're here, please show the fights. I'm wondering how this is going to work for, like, the pacing, because we don't really get much of Waka versus Faye this chapter because we're seeing what's going on with Edward and Ryan and Mutaba and Tiger Nico. So I don't know if they're going to be, like, doing 3 fights simultaneously. That sounds kind of messy. Or if they're going to be doing one of the fights and then for a few chapters and then going to the other one and then doing the other one, or if we're going to finish up Waka versus Faye and then see what happened with the other 2 fights, or the worst possible outcome, we just go back to Waka versus Faye and these other 2 fights just happen off screen. That would be terrible. But in the meantime, big hype. Fucking humongous hype. Anyway, Waka versus Fei Wangfang, the Tiger's Vessel. We are getting what I expected to get from the Tiger's Vessel, and that his Nico style is different from Oma's Nico style. This is someone that continued training under Tiger Nico, who we've already established was doing stuff different from Oma's Nico. And he uses a few Nico-style techniques that we've never seen before. Not even Oma or Agito have seen it before. So he traps Waka in this chokehold that's a mix between the redirection and water kata called Binding Demon, which is a really good name for a technique. And Waka breaks out of it by smashing, like headbutting himself into the floor. And it seems to kind of work. And then he gets hit in the face by another new technique. This is Adamantine Kata Iron Breaker Barrage. I think we already had a couple variations of Iron Breaker, so it's interesting to see a new one here. So yeah, Faye is basically Oma, but for all intents and purposes from the Annihilation Tournament, just better. Like, just a way better version of Annihilation Tournament Oma. Which is nuts, because Annihilation Tournament Oma was already really fucking strong. So, right now, he's just kind of walking all over Waka. But, eventually, Waka does land a hit on Faye, and this hit seems to be a Blast Core, which we all knew was going to get whipped out at some point. However, it doesn't really do much to Faye. Like, it knocks him down, blows him back, but he's not dead. He's relatively fine, maybe like a little bruised up, but for the most part, he's okay. He even says, so that's all he's got, and he seems to start getting up at the count of 3. So, Blast Core did not really do much to Faye, which is really bad because Blast Core is one of the strongest attacks in the entire series. Like, I guess, Julius's new God Killer thing, that's stronger than Blast Core, but that's about it. For one that's not a counter like Demon's Bane, Blast Core is, I guess, now the second strongest attack in the series, so the idea that that really didn't do much to Faye is fucking ridiculous, and Faye hasn't really been trying that hard so far. He's just started using the Nico style. I think in the next chapter he's going to pull out the Advance. He's going to use Advance, and shit's going to get even worse for Waka. However, we haven't seen a Faye flashback yet. I do think we're going to be getting that sometime soon. Depending on what happens, if Faye is going to lose the fight, I think he needs a flashback now, but if he wins, I could see him getting it later. In addition to that, we still need a flashback to see whatever Waka has been doing over the 2-year time skip, specifically what he's done differently, and I think what he's done is he's dedicated more time to improving his grappling. Of course, we have to see if he's had his ankle and his eye fixed, but other than that, when it comes to actual techniques, we need to see if he's improved his grappling, because his grappling was kind of a hidden trump card. Not as strong as Blast Core, but it would be something that his opponent wouldn't expect from him, so it would have the element of surprise, and also, Waka is so fucking strong that if he grapples most people, they're not going to get away. So, really, the only way I can think of Waka winning, unless he has, like, some super Blast Core or some shit, is if he grapples Faye and just crushes him. I mean, like, literally fucking squeezes him into unconsciousness or death. It could be possible that Waka's like, fuck this, I don't give a shit about the match anymore. This guy is going to kill me or someone else, I'm going to kill him. Because, I mean, the Nico style is magic, so he may have something to get out of it, but I don't know how much adamantine and redirection can stop you from getting crushed by someone who's basically a human hydraulic press. That is the only real winning strategy I can see for Waka now, is using grappling and just crushing Faye into submission. I think this is going to be a very high difficulty win. If Wakatsuki wins, for Faye, it could be high difficulty. At the rate it's going now, it may end up being only mid difficulty. And then we do have to see whatever happens with Oma, if Oma's going to fight Faye in some way, shape, or form. What's going on with Lelong? The one thing I don't really like in this chapter that isn't big enough to, like, knock any points off, just a bit of a nitpick, is we don't really see anything from Lelong or the other Purgatory members reacting to Faye, calling himself the Tiger's Vessel and doing all of these crazy techniques. That's the only thing I really have an issue with, and I hope we see more with that. I wonder what Lelong's reaction will be, depending on if Faye wins or loses. But yeah, excellent chapter. Another 10 out of 10 chapter. I don't know when Omega's ever been this good before. I think we're in peak Omega right now, which is nuts, because we've been through a big valley of mediocrity for a lot of this tournament. So, this shit, oh, it's so fucking good. Very pleased, very excited to get chapter 124 next week and see what happens with all of this crazy shit going on. So with that is all I have to say for this week's chapter. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I do Kengan Omega Chapter reviews every week. If you enjoy other series such as Record of Ragnarok, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and Bleach, I do videos on those series as well, so If you're interested in those, you should definitely check out my channel. If you enjoy discussing Kengan Omega with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. I've linked that down in the description. And of course, if you want to help support me and the channel directly, while also getting shoutouts at the start of videos, or access to reviews for Solo Leveling and the Boxer, you can always become a patron. There's a link to my Patreon down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.